Anyone who's ever done anything worth doing has dreamed big, failed mightily, and mostly started from humble beginnings. This is a podcast about such people. The most fascinating podcast in the world is fascinating because of the stories of the human beings. Hello, everybody. It's Pat DiCerbo, the most fascinating podcast in the world. And as you know, anybody who knows me knows it's not because of me. It's because of the people that agree to talk to me. And today we have a very fascinating man from Orem, Utah. His name is Wilford Clyde of the Clyde Companies. And he's in a borrowed office he wanted me to know, but I don't think anyone would have known the difference. And because he gave up his office recently, although he is still involved with the company and as its chairman. But Wilford says he's lived in virtually the same community for all of his life, other than time at college at BYU and some time living in New Zealand. He was born in Utah and did not plan to join the family company. Went to school and got a degree in accounting and practiced in public accounting, if I'm not mistaken, for a while until he and his father had a heart-to-heart conversation. And he's going to tell us about that because he can tell it better than I can. Wilford is married to Natalie, and they have 4 daughters and 4 sons-in-law and 19 grandchildren. And he enjoys skiing, traveling, fishing, and boating with his family. And all 4 of his sons-in-law work for the family company. And he says he's got a great family, and it's very gratifying to have his daughters involved, of course, but also his sons-in-law working for him. Welcome, Wilford.
Thank you.
So you had mentioned a couple times that you had decided that you would not be joining the family company, and you went to college thinking you would do something different. When you were, say, in high school, what were you thinking? Like, what was your aversion to the construction business at that point?
Well, when I was in high school, I don't really think I was thinking about a career, what I was going to do. I was just playing sports and having a lot of fun and trying to study. But, I grew up in the business. In the summers, I worked in our family businesses from age 16 up until I graduated from college. So I worked at our gas station, our hardware store. I worked on an asphalt paving crew. I worked out on a road project near Flaming Gorge out in Utah, and some various other projects, Interstate 15 up in Idaho. So I had plenty of exposure to the construction industry, but a lot of other family members in our business, and so I was thinking I would go and be a CPA and work in that arena. But I did not go work for a public accounting firm. When I got out of school, my dad took me for a little drive to one of our major gravel pits and said, "Hey, there's some opportunities here." And so I made a snap decision and decided I was going to work in the family business. So I worked in accounting for about 5 years, and then kind of moved into some of the manager roles and became general manager of Geneva Rock, which is one of our subsidiaries. At age 30, our general manager died at age 61, and I became general manager. So I was pretty young and didn't know what I was doing, but somehow I fumbled my way through.
Mm-hmm. So you and I had talked in the past about this business unit. It sounds to me like you had a fair amount of independence there, and especially when you took over as general manager, sort of independent of the other business units. Am I wrong in remembering that?
That's right. In the beginning, we had several businesses that my grandfather had started, and they were all individual corporations. They had individual stock, and they operated. Obviously, they were interconnected, like W.W. Clyde Company, the first company in our business, owned a big percentage of that company, but it it did run and operate somewhat independent.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters. So one brother is 12 years older than me. One brother is 7 years younger than me. They both worked in the business. My older brother worked at Clyde Company and spent most of his career there. My younger brother worked at Geneva Rock and spent virtually all of his career there.
So they're retired? Both of
They
them?
did. My younger brother just retired earlier this year, and so all 3 of us are retired. Obviously, there's some other family members in our business too, because my grandfather and his brothers started the business, and so we're just one part of the family.
Okay. How many shareholders do you all have?
We have about 250 shareholders, and virtually most of them are cousins or spouses of cousins. And we do have a few of our executives that own some stock that they've obtained through some stock bonuses. But there's no one in our family or no shareholder that owns more than 5% of the business. So it's a widely spread out. And it's kind of amazing because I'm 3rd generation, and some of the stock is down to actual 5th generation, and we're still getting along and still making the family business work.
That's terrific. I think you made a comment to me that it's a great investment and nobody has yet asked to liquidate any of their shares, or very few have.
Well, we have a stock buyout program. Each year we do evaluation because it's a private company. Do evaluation. We offer so many shares to buy back. So there's always a few people that sell a few shares, but it seems like when the company's doing well, which has been most of the time, they hang on to their stock. When the company isn't doing as well and it goes down a little bit, then they tend to sell it, which is probably upside down from what you should do. But
It's human nature.
That's human nature. If you talk to stockbrokers, they'll say the same thing happens. The stock goes down, everybody panics, so they sell. And when the stock's going up, they're like, "It's going up. I don't want to sell it. It's doing too good." So have a little bit of that. But we have a really good supportive group. We have a shareholder meeting each year, and we get a high percentage of the shareholders that attend it, and we give them an update of what's going on in the company, and so far it's been very positive.
So if I were a complete stranger and you were describing your business to me, how would you describe it? Like if I didn't understand the industry.
Well, my grandfather started back in the middle 1920s, building roads in Utah and some of the Intermountain West. And so we were basically heavy civil contractors, mostly roads and a lot of public works projects. Obviously, a lot of the interstate system came up in the 1950s and 60s and were being built. And then we expanded out. He started Geneva Rock as a ready-mix supply company. It later took on a construction division that did a lot of metropolitan street work and parking lots and asphalt paving in the metro areas in Utah. And then he started a insurance agency. Didn't like paying his insurance premiums to others, so he started an insurance agency. He started a lumber store. A lot of the early bridge work was done with stick lumber. And a lumber and hardware store, gas station. He had a parts supply company. He had a real estate company at one time, and probably the 2 largest companies that grew were Clyde Company, which was the original construction company, and Geneva Rock Products, which was the ready-mix supply, asphalt supply, and also metropolitan construction. So those companies grew. And we work mostly in Utah, but all of the states touching Utah. And over the years, we expanded. 1998, we combined all of the companies into one company, Clyde Companies, Inc. So all of the subsidiaries are now wholly owned subsidiaries of Clyde Companies, Inc. And the shareholders only own shares in that company. And over the last several years, we've expanded into Denver and Phoenix and Boise, and we do work in all the surrounding states of Utah, and have grown from less than 50 million a year to over 2 billion a year on that. So we've had a lot of expansion over the last 10 years.
Boy, I'll say that's stratospheric growth. And is that mostly
when I took over as the president in 2001, we were doing about 250 million, and I think last year we did about 2.3 billion.
Wow. How much of that is like acquisitions and how much is organic?
There's been both. Over the course of about 30 years, I've been involved in the purchase of about 40 different companies. Most of them are small businesses, small family-owned businesses that have been bolt on to our other businesses. But we now have a company called Sunrock, which works outside of the Salt Lake City Wasatch Front area. Does similar work to what Geneva does in that Geneva Rock in that area. We have a company called SunPro, which is a lumber supply company. About half of our business is heavy civil work, and about half of our business is construction materials. So we supply ready-mix concrete, asphalt, sand and gravel products. We supply, lumber, hardware, trusses, and building in the building products arena and that. So that's kind of how our business is split, and so that's kind of where we're at this point in time. So a lot of the growth has been from acquisitions, like for example, Sunrock probably is the culmination of about 15 businesses that we've purchased over the years, and W.W. Clyde and Company has expanded into Denver with a couple of acquisitions over there, and into the Phoenix market with a couple of acquisitions over there. So we continue to grow organically, and we continue to grow. The Intermountain area has been a really good area for business, and there's been a lot of growth in the areas in the markets that we're in, and so we feel like we've had a good opportunity to grow.
That's terrific. What do you see for the future? What are your plans? Is it a secret?
Personally, or our company's plans?
Like more strategic plans, to the extent that you're comfortable talking about it.
Oh, our company?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they just set a new goal called 10 by 10, $10 billion in the next 10 years. So they're looking at doing a lot of growing. That's a pretty ambitious project. And so they are looking for areas to expand into and further our footprint, a little bit more vertical integration, and also expanding geographically. So I think that's one of the big things that we're looking at in our business is to take care of that.
Mm-hmm. Do you envision like a national presence or west of the Mississippi type thing, or?
So far, we've kind of stuck in the Intermountain area. We've stayed off of the West Coast. We've expanded into some of the Great Plains area. Like we do some business in Nebraska and Kansas, and we've done some in Oklahoma, New Mexico. We've done some work down in Texas, but we haven't really looked at going east of the Mississippi at this point in time, or we haven't really been too involved in trying to expand into California, Oregon, or Washington too much.
Got it. How about for the foreseeable future for you, Wilford? You've been busy and active for a long time, both in the operation of your company and in construction industry organizations. What do you see yourself doing sort of professionally in the future and personally?
Well, I've had a great career. I worked in the business for about 47 years. I retired about a year and a half ago, but I'm still the chairman of the board and still spend some time involved in the business. I try to come to work as little as possible and get involved in other things, but I've still been involved with the Beavers Heavy Civil Group based in California, which is a national association of heavy civil contractors. Had the opportunity to be the president there in 2015. I'm presently the chair of the charitable trust there, which I'm going to probably give up in January. But I still have stayed involved in the community and tried to still be involved in our company and what's going on in the construction industry and what goes on in our community. We've always believed in being involved in our communities and encourage that with our people. So I'm still trying to do that, but I'm also working on all the things that I got behind in during my career in life, traveling and get my finances in good order and, spend more time with my grandchildren. I spend a lot of time going to ball games and tennis matches and baseball games, football games, all that. All my grandchildren live within 45 minutes of where I live. So I get a chance to go to a lot of ball games at the ballpark, and my wife and I have decided that's a lot better than sitting home watching TV. So we're very involved with our family on a very regular basis.
Sounds like it. With 19 grandchildren, you must be full throttle.
Yeah, and I got several, and they're involved in sporting activities, and some of them are involved in some other types of things, like music and things like that. So there's always something to attend and be involved with, and that's a lot of fun to see them grow and develop, and watch them participate.
No doubt. I don't have any grandchildren, so I don't know the feeling. But people
you're missing out, Pat.
people tell me it's great. Yeah. My girls are 22 and 20, so
well, you still got a chance.
Yeah, I hope so.
It's a lot of fun when you have some grandchildren and get to participate in what they do and see what they're doing and watch their accomplishments. It's a lot of fun.
Were you an athlete growing up? Did you do sports in high school?
I played high school sports. I was the quarterback of our football team, and I was center on our basketball team, and played on our tennis team. And so, yeah, I had a lot of fun doing that. When I got to college, I probably wasn't quite quick enough, tall enough, fast enough. So I didn't, but I've always enjoyed sports. I love to watch sporting events, both college, pro, and particularly my grandkids is a lot of fun. And I live close to our local high school, so a lot of times we run over to some of the local high school games. I live in a community that's about 35,000 people, and so our family has been there since the 1850s. We have a lot of a lot of people are the kids that participate. If you don't know them, you know their parents or you know their grandparents. So it's fun to watch the kids participate. I really enjoy doing that.
No doubt. Are you a tennis fan by any chance?
Well, I have a tennis court in my backyard. So seems like I didn't get to use it as much as I would have liked to, because I was always working on something. But one thing that's been really fun, particularly this last summer, is the president of our lumber supply company lives in our community. He's the high school girls tennis coach, so he has a bunch of daughters that play. I have a couple of granddaughters that play, and so they were over at our tennis court on a regular basis early in the morning practicing, and they all set this goal that they were going to do 100 hours of tennis uh, over the summer. And so it was fun to go out, see them out playing and practicing and trying to improve themselves and that. So our tennis court gets a lot of use, not so much by myself, but by members of our family or friends, and it's been a good part of our home and our property there.
I love tennis. I'm no good at it. I've played a fair amount, but I love the U.S. Open, which, as you probably know, just ended on Sunday. Did you follow
Yeah,
the tournament at all?
I watched the men's final.
Did you?
Yeah, that was we were hoping our U.S. Friend was going to do a little better, but oh well, he had a tough competitor.
He did. And I don't know if anyone can beat Sinner. Maybe Djokovic can beat
Yeah,
him if he's
yeah.
healthy. But
Sinner's playing pretty good tennis right now.
and he's so fast and so rangy, and
Yeah.
has so much power. I don't know, even more than Djokovic.
Well, and in the third set, he was up 5-3, and Sinner came back, won 4 games, and won the match. And
Right.
same thing happened in the first set. They were tied at 3, or I think they were tied. Yeah, they were tied at 3, and he came. Or no, it's 3-2 in the first set. He came back and won 4 straight games, and so he's tough. He's going to be tough to beat.
He is. I don't know. I'm kind of, I like to see it close. You want parity.
I
The
like to
rivalries are
watch
so much
football.
fun. But
Football's a fun sport to watch,
mm-hmm.
and I watched the game last night between San Francisco and the New York Jets, and San Francisco the Jets still have a ways to go to catch up. I'm not sure they're championship material yet, but
I think we specialize in New York in mismanagement of sports teams. If you think about it, I mean, the Rangers, they have more money than God and they can never win. I mean, the Yankees have more money than God and they can't win.
Well, the Yankees have won a lot of championships, so they've done pretty well.
They have.
Yeah.
More recently. I guess I'm spoiled because I've been following them since I was like 10 years old. So
yeah.
early to mid 70s.
As well in recent years, that's for sure.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, about the heavy construction industry. How do you see the outlook for the industry? And if you were talking to other people about getting in the business, as I know we do at some of the Beavers gatherings, getting more young people into the business and more women into the business. What do you see as opportunities going forward?
Well, when COVID broke out in early 2020, I called our leaders together and I said, "Hey, we're in for some tough times, and we've got to really tighten our belts and we've got to be really careful." Then we had the 3 best years we've ever had.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of demand for infrastructure in our country. There's a lot of demand for housing, and even though inflation has been a little out of control the last couple of years, there's still a lot of demand out there, and particularly the markets that we work in seems to be very good growth areas. So I think there's a really bright future in the heavy civil construction and even in the commercial construction and that. I think in commercial construction, it seems like the Retail has pulled back a little bit because so much is being done through the internet. It seems like office space has pulled back a little bit because there are so many more people working from home remotely. It seems like we've had a real influx of warehouse space here, but in our area, the warehouse space seems to be getting a little overbuilt. And housing has been affected because of some of the interest rates. But, there's such a demand for housing still that I think it's going to continue to be strong. And even though some of these areas have pulled back a little bit, there's still a lot going on. We've been involved in quite a few sites for Facebook and other information services. We've done some big site work jobs down in the Phoenix area. Here in Utah, they're building some big facilities. And so there's a lot going on in that area. In the energy area, it seems like there's a lot going on. And we've been involved in some energy projects, both wind and solar, and a lot of new electric lines because of the demand for electricity has been going in, particularly out in the West here. And so I think the construction industry is, as I've been to the Beavers meetings and talked to others, it seems like everybody's pretty optimistic about what's happening when it comes to construction, because of the fact that there is a lot of infrastructure that needs to be repaired and improved, and so I think we're still in for some strong years in that area.
No doubt.
Somewhere there's probably going to be some type of a recession happen, but we haven't seen too much yet, and invariably so there's going to be a downturn somewhere. But personally, I think it's pretty bright right now.
Me too. And I always felt like one of the reasons I'm attracted to the industry is infrastructure needs to be maintained even if there is a recession. We still need wastewater treatment plants. We need bridges, dams, roads, maintenance, etc. And I feel like there's a bright future for the industry.
A lot of emphasis on the environment, and so you got to have better wastewater treatment plants. You've got to have better facilities to in industrial plants and that to make the air cleaner. You've got to keep the cars moving on the highways for the exhaust there. And I know there's a big push for electric, but I think we're still going to have a lot of combustible engine vehicles for a long time into the future. And it seems like there's a place for both of them, but the better we move traffic, the better our environment will be. So I think there's still some real opportunities in those areas.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds to me like you've had a fulfilling career and a fulfilling life in every way. Is there anything that you might like to ask me or say that we haven't talked about?
Well, I think we need to be positive about the future. We have a lot of young people that are very, very smart, very qualified. They do business different than we do. They have different different priorities, but it's okay. Some of us people in the baby boomer generation need to step aside and let them become successful. Mm-hmm. And I think that will continue to happen. Seems like politics seem to be a little dicey. There's a lot more divisiveness. It's harder to get the truth out of people. I think our media organizations have become much more biased in how they report things to us, and so you have so many outlets through social media and other ways that you just have to be much more careful in how you filter. And I think we need to be more tolerant as a people of each other. It seems mm-hmm. like we've worked very, very hard to try to make sure people aren't discriminated against for for any type of reason. But then on the other hand, it seems like in some ways there's been more and more intolerance in recent time. If you don't believe like I believe, then there's something wrong with you in that. And so I think we need to make sure everybody's treated the same, and that we need to make sure that we're tolerant of other people's beliefs. Everybody doesn't believe what we believe, and we have to be somewhat tolerant of what their beliefs are. Not that we don't stand up for what we believe in, not that we don't support politicians that we feel like would be push things that we're interested in doing. But I think there has to be a better tolerance out there, and I hope that'll happen, but more and more in the future in that. So, but I think the future's bright in our country. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of terrible things going on in the world in the way of wars and suppression of people. And I hope that we'll continue as a country to support freedom and support free enterprise systems. And I don't know. It's very frustrating to see some of the things happening in the world. It's very sad. It's really sad as a human race to see what's happening. But there are a lot of bright things to celebrate too. And I think the United States of America is a beacon to the world, and I think we need to continue to be that.
Amen. I feel like we're an enduring institution, but we have bumps along the way. Reminds me of the stock market. The up and to the right. I feel like we're making progress, but there's volatility.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And I hope we'll continue to support the free enterprise system and the way it works. I think obviously there's challenges in that, but I think that when business is strong and business is healthy, it's good for all people, because all the people that live in our country, they need good jobs, and when businesses are healthy, they're hiring people, they're increasing their pay and their benefits. When businesses are healthy, their stocks go up, and most of us that have retirement programs are involved in 401k programs, which buy stocks and mutual funds and bonds and all those types of things. And we want those to go up, because that's part of our retirement program and that. So I hope people realize that hey, maybe they're not the top of the company, or maybe they don't own the company, but most of them own a piece of all these companies, and it's important that they be successful. And the more profitable they are, the more taxes they'll pay, and the better. We'll just be more successful as a people on that. So I hope that'll continue.
Me too.
And I think contractors are very much for that. And we have a lot of really great contractors. We offer a lot of really great occupations for people. And I know in our company, our people make the difference in our success. And we're always looking for good people. It's hard to find good people, particularly in the craft area. I think the craft area is some area we've got to concentrate on. I believe in seeing some immigration take place to help us in that area, but obviously it needs to be an orderly immigration. I don't think we've had a very orderly immigration over the last several years, and quite frankly, the immigration laws in our country have not been changed very much, because we can't seem to agree and come together. But we really need to make better ways for people to come in legally and stop the illegal immigration.
Agreed.
There's my political statement.
Well, I feel like most people agree with that, whether they're conservative or liberal. They want an orderly process and to be fair and have it be legal, and they want to be pulling in the same direction. It's kind of funny, because most of the people that you and I know, we're all worried about the same things, that we want clean water and good schools and our employees to be taken care of, and
Breathe clean air. We
yeah.
all breathe clean air. I mean, we. It's interesting. I saw a little excerpt out of the news weekly news magazine of that I think it's CBS that does it on Sunday morning, and one of the commentators was talking about all of the things that we as a people all agree on. And the truth of the matter is, we talk about how divisive the country is, and he said, when you really analyze it, we agree on more things than we are divisive on, and we need to concentrate on those things that we agree on more, and that, because, like you say, we all want to have clean water. We all want to breathe clean air. We want to have good infrastructure. We want to have good schools. We want people to have opportunities to be successful. And so hopefully the politicians will come together and we can get some of that stuff accomplished. But it's always a challenge because everybody has a different opinion on things.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just feel like if we keep pulling in the same direction, maybe we continue to excel in spite of the politics. And that's kind of always been I remember reading Bankruptcy 1995 by Harry Figge and Gerald Swanson back in 1994. So I was thinking, oh no, the world's coming to an end. And maybe it will. But even then, after I think it was Graham-Rudman Act, where the Balanced Budget Act, and it's been violated every year since they legislated it into existence. And still, America has prospered. So I'm bullish on America. I'm, friendly with people on both sides of the aisle, and I feel like I'm in the middle. I think I'm a moderate.
The truth of the matter is, I think there's more people in the middle now than there was on the far right and the far left.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes the people in the middle, but they're really the ones that are making the difference, because you're not going to move the far right, you're not going to move the far left. It's the people in the middle that make the difference, and they're the ones that are going to make the decision of where our country goes and that. So hopefully more of us can be in the middle and kind of work together and say, hey, I'm not going to get everything I want. You're not going to get everything you want. But if you give up a little bit, I give up a little bit, maybe we can meet somewhere in between. I'll get some of the things I want. You get some of the things you want. So we'll see how that goes. But
we need a few more, a little more diplomacy, like a Daniel Patrick Moynihan, someone like that who could talk to everybody.
Well, I think it's sad because I think it seems like we have too many bad actors in the political arena. It seems like we need to have more good people, but it's hard to get good people to be involved, because it's pretty tough out there. People are pretty tough on you. So,
no doubt.
I feel good about the construction industry and what's happening there. I hope we'll continue to make it be very successful. And hopefully there'll be a support to rebuild our infrastructure and continue to make our country. I feel like the transportation system is one of the things that made our country great, to be able to move goods across our country. And obviously our highway system is very critical to that. And so I hope we'll continue to improve it.
Me too. So I'm in the habit of saying the hyphen is the most important punctuation in the English language. Do you know why?
No.
Because it's what's between your date of birth and your date of death.
Yeah.
So I just wonder, if we were talking about you after you're gone, what would you want people to know about you, Wilford?
Well, I would hope people would say that I was a fair person, that I was a positive person, and I treated everybody with respect. I've always tried to treat every person that I've met throughout my life, who I've been associated with in work and my neighborhood, my family. with respect. I think that's the most important thing, is that the relationships you have with people. And I feel like I've had good relationships with people. I've had a good life. My family has been important to me, but also my friends, my work colleagues, the people I like to be around people and interact with people. And I would hope that people would say, yeah, he was a person that was fair and treated everybody equally and with respect.
I suspect they would say that.
And I've had a lot of fun in my life too. I had the opportunity to be the mayor of our community for 8 years.
No kidding.
It was one of the funnest jobs I did in serving the community. It was just, our family had been there for almost 200 years, and just interacting with the people in our community and trying to make the community a better community. I really, and we met regularly with the mayors of other communities around us, and worked together, and it was a really great experience. One of my favorite things, we had an event each spring called Bike with the Mayor, and they'd all meet down at the city hall, all the kids and adults, and we'd do a little kid ride around the city complex, and then we would take the older kids and adults, and we'd take a ride through town on a Saturday morning. And they'd come back and have breakfast or donuts or whatever. And it was really a lot of fun to just see everybody get together and take a bike ride through town and see what the town was like and that. So I've had a really great life, and hopefully I'm going to keep going for a few more years.
Amen. I feel like that point you made about sort of bringing people together is key to bringing America forward. Like they talk about the loneliness that's epidemic right now, and I feel like people are stuck in their houses on their computers and their phones, and we need to get out and be riding our bikes.
Absolutely.
Just that feeling of joy being around like a crowd of people in your town.
Well, I always tell people money doesn't buy happiness. Happiness is achieved by the value system that you have and live by, and the interactions you have with the people around you, and the relationships that you build with the people around you, and that's what builds happiness in your life. And I think that sometimes we look at materialistic things to make ourselves happy, and that doesn't necessarily happen. I think it's those two other things that are the critical pieces.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever heard of the book The Tao of Pooh?
I have not.
So it's a book that explains Taoism through the characters in Winnie the Pooh.
Oh,
And
okay.
one of the scenes is or vignettes, Winnie the Pooh explains his favorite time in the process of eating honey. And he's talking about how he approaches the hive, and he's filled with anticipation. And eventually he gets up to the hive and reaches his paw in, and he puts the paw in and scoops the honey. And he talks about how he scoops it. And then he pulls his hand out of the hive, and he says, like, right here, this is my favorite part. right before he eats it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's kind of like, when you think you want a new car or a motorcycle, or you think you want any material thing,
Yeah.
like your brain says you'll be happier having it. And then once you get it, you're like, eh.
Yeah. It was almost the anticipation of getting it that was the more important.
It is. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen my phone, but I have a picture of the character Sisyphus on it. I don't know if you can see, that's like
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
a big rock being pushed by a man.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine drew that for my birthday card for me one year. Because
Oh,
without the responsibility, without the duty, my life doesn't have purpose. So if I want to be happy, I need the rock. I want the rock.
that's
And
right.
you could call it a lot of things: responsibility in my family, my community, my clients, my friends, who knows what. But I want that. And the other stuff, to me, it's just stuff. It's
Well, I learned something about you, Pat, today that you and I are have the same thing, and that is we both have just daughters.
that's right.
When
And
people tell me you've daughtered out, I said, well, I guess I'm not carrying on the family name. Somebody else will have to do that. But in today's world, sometimes that's not necessarily the case. But
right. But either way, it's okay for me.
that's right. That's right. I loved having four daughters. They're great. Daughters come home. They all live close to me,
Mm.
and I feel like I have a really good relationship with them and with their husbands, and so it's a lot. It's a lot of fun. Part of that relationship and value system that you have. So,
Amen.
well,
Well, thank you.
it's been good to know you, Pat, and I've met you at the Beavers several times. We've
Yeah.
interacted a little bit in that, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you. This is a real highlight for me. Thank you so much for your time.
You bet.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
Bye.
If you enjoy the most fascinating podcast in the world, please follow on Spotify, subscribe on YouTube, and follow on Apple Podcast.